how do you think about how you price yourself? We don't need to go into specifics, but more conceptually, how do you think about how you price yourself? And I'm thinking that particularly through the lens of, in businesses, you often have revenue generating functions and then cost centers. The cost center, there's essentially a cap on the value of an employee or a service. But, particularly in growth or sales, there's not necessarily a cap on the amount of revenue that person can generate. In theory, sure. It's, exponential / unlimited in theory.
Yeah.
With that in mind, for something like websites, which maybe someone could confuse as a cost center, but in this case is not, it's for a growth function. How do you think about how you price yourself?
Yeah, for sure. It's an interesting one because, like you said, in sales and marketing, like theoretically, there's no like cap on the amount of the revenue you can bring in. But I think a lot of people think the opposite of developers a lot of the time. They're kind of frustrated having to pay a lot for them because they're like, oh, we just need this done. They don't really have to ideate anything. We've got the idea that's going to generate revenue. I just want them to put the pixels on the page, basically. So I think that's why I'm going for that growth niche as well in development, because the idea could be 100x value, like 100x more valuable than the actual development. For example, if I came up with an idea for a page on your website which generates loads and loads of organic traffic and gets you a ton of leads, for a B2B business, that could be hundreds of thousands, millions of pounds worth of revenue. So you have to think about a couple of things. It's how much value you bring to the business, so how much extra revenue can this bring in, and balance that with like the costs they might traditionally pay. For example, hiring someone. That's something I bring into account as well, because to hire a developer, you're going to have to spend a couple of months maybe like searching for them, finding someone, maybe paying recruiters. So there's a cost associated with that. And then they might not be right when you get in and you've like locked into a contract and this, that, and the other. And you also might not need someone full time, but you have to pay someone full time to be there. So there's the cost of that as well. So a balance between how much value are you bringing to the company, and how much would they have to pay to do this a different way, and then trying to like find somewhere in between that's like you're worth it, if that makes sense, and like communicating that as well. Trying to communicate to them, I'm doing this and this can be worth this much to you, because some